Available now from Arrow Films in a pretty deluxe Blu-ray, which may or may not be out of print. As I went to look, I'm a little late in doing this review. I went to look it up, and it looked like it might actually be out of print now. But it is also available in the UK from Arrow, same edition. Might not be region A friendly for us in America, and like a lot of things, they press more. Mill of the Stone Women from 1960. This is a movie that I first discovered via a DVD from Mondo Macabro several years ago that honestly I'd never heard of it then, and I picked it up because it was cheap and I really liked it. So I was thrilled to hear that Arrow was putting it out. So first of all, before I say anything else, this looks beautiful. This looks phenomenal. It was gorgeous. I was just like drooling watching this transfer of this film. Basic storyline here. And I may get this a little bit wrong, but it's more of a surprise when you watch it. It very much plays like an early Hammer film of this period. This is an Italian horror film set, again, I might be wrong about this. There's a windmill involved, so I'm pretty sure this was set in the Netherlands or Denmark or Norway or one of those windmill countries. Sorry, I'm a little fuzzy on the details in these things sometimes. Like so many of these movies, it also reminds me of the Roger Corman, Edgar Allan Poe films that were done for AIP. You have, or even the Dracula novel in a way. You have a young man who is sent, this is set in the olden times, 1800s, I believe. A young man is sent from far away to a remote location. In this case, it is a windmill, the titular mill of the Stone Women, to finish up an article. Some historical article is being done about this mill and the statues that it has inside. Basically, the inside of this large windmill has an exhibit, very House of Wax-like, no coincidence, I don't think. This has a display of famous female murderers, and there are these statues that have been put together, and it's this strange sort of mechanical. You go into the mill, and there's a big open area, and there's a stage, and from backstage, shall we say, come on this little track that kind of weaves its way through these various little scenarios of famous female murderers, like one's on a noose, and one's a poisoner, and one did this, and one did that, that sort of pass their way through in front of the viewer. This professor from the local art college is in charge of these things, of restoring the statues, of making new statues, so he has a helper. He is aiding this young male, this young journalist who is coming in helping finish this article. So the young guy is staying here. And very, very basic story is that the young man finds that the professor has a comely young daughter who's maybe got some issues, we find. He has a comely young daughter, and he falls victim to her wily ways. She's pretty, and she asks him to visit, and, nature takes its course from there. And unfortunately for them all, he also has a childhood friend that he is reunited with who is in love with him, and he loves her, and he has this dalliance, and he feels guilty, so he tries to break it off with the lovely young daughter of the mill owner, and it doesn't go well. And she either kills herself or dies from overexertion of a malady that she has. And then from that point on, things get weird. Things get very weird. And I don't necessarily mean supernatural weird. I just mean the story goes in these dark places that you never saw coming before that. And it's excellent. This movie is very, very reminiscent. And I'm not going to tell you any more about the movie story beyond that. I love this. I had not seen this movie since I bought it on DVD. And that was, scary to say, probably at least a decade ago. So it played pretty fresh for me. I just remembered the overall look of the film, which looks way better on this Blu-ray than it did on the DVD. And again, if you are a fan of the old Edgar Allan Poe AIP movies, it feels like that. If you're a fan of the early Hammer movies, it feels like that. And it just looks gorgeous. The set, the location is cool. This windmill near a canal somewhere, and the interior of the windmill with the big gears and the strange pieces of statues, finished and unfinished, is really cool. And the costumes and the look of the cast members and the makeup and the hair, beautiful to look at. Being that this is Arrow, they don't go halfway on anything. You get four versions of this movie. It's 2 discs, the 2-disc set, 2 discs and like an insanely loaded package. Now what I get, I wish I had one to show you. What I get are these very simple slim case disc with a white label, no frills. The release version of this is loaded with like mini poster and lobby cards and slipcase and booklet and beautiful cover and new artwork and on and on and on. Disclaimer, may or may not contain all of what I just said, but pretty close to all that stuff. It's a 2-disc set. Disc 1, you can watch either the Italian or English language version of the film. Italian obviously has English subtitles. Sometimes they have different things cut into them, different titles, different inserts for the respective language. And then it also has extras. It's got voluminous extras. It's got a Tim Lucas commentary. And again, if you know who Tim Lucas is, you want to listen to the commentary. Mario Bava's biographer, man who created and brought to us Video Watchdog, wrote the Bava biography, which I just said, All the Colors of the Dark, and has been doing commentaries since the old Image Laserdisc or Image DVD days. Many supplements about the cast and the film itself, not all of which I've had a chance to watch yet, so I'm not delving into that. And then disc 2 presents 2 more versions of the movies. I believe it is the French version of the film and the American version of the film, which provide different edits, different opening titles, different opening crawls, apparently additional effects, tons of stuff. So this is like the dream come true for anybody who loves Mill of the Stone Women. I'm gonna angle to say that probably most fans haven't heard of this movie. It's because it wasn't one of those movies like a Hammer or an AIP. It's not a movie that's seen a lot of releases in the US, to my knowledge. It wasn't a movie I ever remember seeing on TV as a kid. It's not a movie I ever have stumbled across on cable or even streaming. So it's a rarer title, but it's really good. Like, to me, it stands alongside those more iconic films. I'm not going to say it's a uber classic of the genre. It cribs, to my eye, pretty heavily from some of those other sources. It's very similar to House of Wax. It's very similar to Eyes Without a Face, even though it might have been the same year, roughly, as that. Again, don't look at me for accuracy. Boy, I really like this movie a lot. Like, this is the rare occasion where I'm going to take a little time and watch those other versions of the film because I want to see how is it different. What was it like if I had been able to go to see this in a theater in America? How different was it from I just watched the standard English export version of it. But the idea that it's got different effects and different shots and some different takes or things is really interesting to me. So available now, I believe, from Arrow Home Video on Blu-ray, deluxe Blu-ray, is Mill of the Stone Women from 1960.